Hello, here's a quick video on Messenger Library to explain the registration notification system. I've had a couple of people say that it wasn't very clear how it works, so I'm doing a special video for it. And to show it a little better, I've made a little example uh, which sort of takes the registration system and sort of shows it. The registry is created first. It's actually just, if you look inside it, it's a DVR containing essentially a lookup table. And the lookup table looks up who wants to know what information. And so there's two sides to using this. One is if you want to, some piece of information that you want to make available to other people, you call a notify method. There's notify event and there's notify state. I'll explain the difference in a sec. And to get this information, someone else, different loop, different actor, different process, must write a registration message. So here I've made a simple process. I've just made a queue, made a little message handling loop, used something called cyclic table to make a table of the messages. And I use that as the address. I write a registration message where I want all this information. And I send that registration message to the other loop. I'm passing it directly, but in a real program, you'd actually send it by some communication method. And then I call the registration method. So let's look how it works. So if I run the program, if I start off and I call, normally how you do it is you register. That most calls the registration. And then when an event happens, you can see the events come in. I've just, for example, used the optional message translation where I've added a prefix, ABC, on front of the messages. That's just to show you in normal use, that's what you would do in order to sort of add your identifying information to the messages. So there's events and there's states, and there's no real difference in this case. The difference between an event and state happens when you have the registration message be late. Because in an asynchronous program, you could start something, it could make some events or some notifications, then you start something else and register it. So what happens then? So if I make some events before registering, I get nothing, obviously. When I register, still have nothing. Then events happen and the events come in. State is different. If I do some state notifications, I'll do a couple of each, and then I hit register, I immediately get the last state notification. That's because this little registry remembers, it makes a copy of the state changes. So if you say, I'm interested in this state, you say, okay, here you go. Here is what the latest state value was. So this is very powerful. It's very powerful because it means you don't have to worry about the order of startup, which eliminates a whole class of potential bugs and makes things much easier to do because you can create something, send off a bunch of registration messages, and you know it will get that state information very quickly. So to initialize itself. Let's see. So the reason you might generally you'd use state for anything that actually means this is my current state. Use events only for actual events, like you actually don't want them to get them if they register later, or if the information is very large, because taking a copy, which the state notification does, of course, it has overhead. Actually, let me just show you something so you can see better. If you click a probe on the observer registry, you get a special custom probe. And so if I notify some state, you can see the information has come in. My states have actually recorded what the value is. The observer registry remembers what the latest value was. And you can see that actually changes. But if I hit notify events, it ignores it because no one's interested in that event. It just ignores the events completely. So that shows how an event is much less overhead. Went to register. Now, again, it sent the state changes. It has recorded who is interested in what information. So each one of these is an observer set, add prefix ABC to our queue messenger. The state, we know what the information is because remembering the events we don't because we aren't taking a copy. And we can see who is registered for it. And again, as you hit state. Once it's all registered, state and event are essentially the same. You just get a message each time a notification is called. Let's see, is that about it? Yes. So yes, I hope that is much clearer. In practice, of course, this part would be inside your message handler. This part down at the bottom is a different message handler, which writes a registration message and sends it to you. Anyway, thank you very much. Bye.